It was New Year's Eve, and I felt the weight of the past year pressing down on me. The party inside was bursting with life, but I needed a moment to escape. The air was crisp as I stepped outside, the laughter and music fading into the background. Leaning against the cool brick wall, I spotted a figure across the street. A tall, casually dressed man. Something was unsettling about him. Maybe it was the chilly air or the buzz from the drinks, but I felt this inexplicable pull towards him. "Hey, you here for the party?" I asked, trying to sound casual as I approached. His gaze met mine, and I felt like he was sizing me up.
Not exactly. I've been waiting for you.
My heart skipped a beat. "Waiting for me? Do I know you?"
Not yet,
He replied, a smirk forming on his lips.
but I know a lot about you, more than you think.
I chuckled nervously, attempting to shake off the weirdness. "Okay, you've got me curious. What do you know?" He stepped closer, his voice dropping to a whisper.
I know about your little secrets, the ones you think nobody sees, like that time at the lake with your friends. Remember how you brushed it off when they found out?
I froze, my stomach twisting into knots. "What are you talking about?"
Your secret, the one that shaped who you are now. I can see the guilt written all over you.
I shook my head, feeling naked under his scrutiny. That was years ago. It doesn't matter anymore. He shrugged, clearly amused by my denial.
It matters to me. Do you think you can just forget and move on? That's not how it works. And now it's New Year's. Time for resolutions, right?
"What do you want from me?" I asked, panic rising in my chest.
Just a little honesty.
He said, his eyes locked on mine.
Tell them what you really think of them when the clock strikes midnight. Or maybe you'd prefer I do it for you.
My mind spun. The party was still buzzing with laughter behind me. What if I just walked away? But his stare, like he held the power to unravel everything, made me pause.
Maybe it's time to face the truth, and before the year closes, let it all out.
I stood frozen, the countdown echoing in my ears, caught between a confrontation I never wanted and the suffocating fear that my secrets were finally coming to light.
On New Year's Day, I decided to shake off the remnants of last night's festivities with a solo hike in the nearby woods. The crisp air felt invigorating as I set out, my mind buzzing with resolutions and hopes for the year ahead. I had heard rumors of a secluded cabin tucked a few miles in, supposedly perfect for reflection. The silence was almost deafening, broken only by the crunch of frost-covered leaves beneath my boots. It was peaceful, and I found myself lost in thought. After about an hour, the cabin appeared, nestled between the trees, its weathered boards blending seamlessly into the surroundings. Just a quick look, I muttered, curiosity getting the better of me. The door creaked ominously as it swung open, revealing a dusty interior that reeked of wood and decay. Sunlight filtered through grimy windows, casting eerie shadows across the floor. Despite the foreboding atmosphere, I felt an inexplicable pull to explore. The cabin was empty, except for some old furniture and a coffee table cluttered with yellowed newspapers. My heart skipped a beat as I scanned the headlines: local tragedies, disappearances, and one article that stopped me cold. Mysterious cabin linked to unsolved cases. A coincidence? I shrugged it off. Ridiculous, I whispered, determined not to scare myself. I wandered further, discovering a small bedroom. The bed was unmade, and clothes were scattered as if someone had left in haste. I picked up a jacket, its faint, stale scent unsettling. Then I found a diary half buried under a pile of clothes. The cover was worn, but the pages within were intact. I flipped through, reading entries of a life consumed by isolation and escalating paranoia. Each entry was more frantic than the last, filled with tales of watching eyes and whispers in the night. Who could be watching? I murmured, unease creeping in. Just then, My phone buzzed. I pulled it out expecting a message. Instead, it was a notification. Location services activated. My heart raced. Had I triggered something by accident? Suddenly, a rustle from outside. My stomach dropped. I turned, the realization dawning that I wasn't alone. Panic surged as I crept toward the door.
I received this unexpected invitation in the mail on New Year's Eve. It was an elegant card, and the words, "You are cordially invited," were scrawled in this fancy gold script. I didn't recognize the address, but something about it grabbed my curiosity. I decided to go. When I arrived, I found this old Victorian house with windows glowing warmly against the night sky. The atmosphere was inviting, but unsettling at the same time. Inside, I was greeted by a group of familiar faces, friends I hadn't seen in years. It felt like a reunion, but something was definitely off. "Wow, this is a surprise." I forced a smile and asked, "Who organized all this?" Jake, an old friend, walked up looking serious.
You really don't know, do you?
"Know what?" I asked, puzzled.
About last New Year's.
The room went silent, and I felt everyone's eyes on me. "What about it?"
You remember the party at Sarah's place? The accident?
My heart dropped. Of course, but we weren't at fault. It was an accident,
Right, but there's more.
he said, glancing nervously around.
Some of us didn't make it out unscathed.
"Okay, what are you saying?" My palms started sweating. Jake looked down, voice barely above a whisper.
We lost someone that night. They didn't just disappear.
A knot tightened in my stomach. "That's not true. We tried everything to help."
Did you? Or did you just leave it behind like you've left everything behind since?
Before I could respond, a loud chime filled the room. The countdown had begun. 10, 9. I was frozen, caught between guilt and confusion. Memories flooded back. Faces from that night, the chaos, the screams. I never thought I'd relive it like this. 3, 2. The tension was unbearable. I glanced around. Expressions of disappointment and something darker. "Happy New Year!" they cheered, but I felt no joy. "Is this what this is about?" I asked, voice trembling. "You brought me here to confront me?" The room fell silent again. I could see it now. Their resentment, the unspoken blame. This gathering wasn't a celebration. It was a reckoning. New Year's Day dawned with its usual dose of optimism. I had made a resolution, something I'd long avoided. I was finally going to face Matt, the high school bully who'd tormented me. Even now, his cutting words lingered, voices from the past that refused to quit. I took a deep breath and texted him. "Can we talk? It's time to clear the air." To my surprise, he replied almost instantly. "Sure, let's meet at the old diner at 2. My stomach churned. The diner, a place from our past, felt eerily appropriate. I arrived early, nerves churning as I slid into a booth. The diner was nearly empty, the clatter of dishes echoing off lonely walls. Matt looked just the same when he walked in, tall with that smirk that had always made my skin crawl. I waved him over, forcing a smile. "Hey, thanks for coming." He settled across from me casually.
What's up? You wanted to talk?
"About school, what you did. It messed me up more than I realized." He leaned back, crossing his arms.
Come on. It was just teasing. Lighten up.
"Teasing? You spread rumors and called me names. It was more than teasing." Anger simmered beneath my skin. I've carried it for years. He shrugged, unaffected.
People move on. You should too. This isn't high school anymore.
"Easy for you to say," I snapped, voice rising. "You weren't the one living in hell." He smirked again.
Look, I didn't mean to hurt you. It's just funny you're still hung up on it.
My hands balled into fists. It's not funny. I'm telling you it mattered. Just then, my phone buzzed with a message. An unknown number flashed on the screen. Be careful, I see you. Panic flared. Did you send this?
What?
He said, trying to look confused. I stared at him, heart pounding. You're still messing with me, aren't you? His expression darkened, a flicker of something sinister.
Maybe you should think twice about confronting the past.
I pushed away from the table. The feeling of being trapped in his game was as real now as it was then. Even as I walked out, the shadows of his threats lingered, whispering that I was still caught in his web.